asking all the questions which are really, really close to my heart and which I'm very passionate about. Again, ever since I started my human genetics, we're all students of genetics, right? So we have known Sir Archibald Garrett's inborn errors of metabolism. And that's something where after a child is born, based on the metabolite profiling, you can actually say what the genetic defect is, and mostly they are autosomal recessive disorders, okay? And for years, since I started my human genetics research, I've been actually trying to get support to go ahead and do a newborn screening between different agencies, whether it is DBT or ICMR and so on. But it just didn't happen. There's a lot of discussion, a lot of talk, but it really didn't get off. So to answer your last question first, in our country, we don't even have newborn screening as mandatory. Okay? It's over 60 years since in the West, it's routine. Okay? Depending on the epidemiological data that they have, they know which conditions need to be tested on a mandatory mode in the newborn. But unfortunately, till today, newborn screening is not mandatory. A very, very, sharp neonatologist will probably say, okay, look, this child seems to have this condition and therefore under suspicion, or diagnosis, they will go do a testing. But how many are able to get the test done? How many are able to start the intervention in time is the most important. So for newborn screening, once you have diagnosed the child is positive for the IEM, for some of the IEMs, you have treatment possible. And if you have the treatment within a certain period of time, the disease will not manifest or will be in a very, very milder form. It will not be debilitating or it will not be a lethal condition. So this is something which we really thought was a very doable translational science, but didn't get support. But luckily, when I happened to be a member on the Scientific Advisory Council to the Prime Minister of India during 2009 and to 14, in the year of science, it was a year of science early on 2000. One of those years was that, and all the members were asked to kind of propose, what would you like to do? So I said, I really think we should do something, science for society. So the ball was back in my court, and they said, come with a proposal. So I said, okay, I have a very passionate proposal on newborn screening. I'll come back. So I made a presentation to the committee on newborn screening. So I had to tell them what the disease incidence is, what is the disease burden, and how preventable some forms of them are, how treatable some other forms are, and to show them the lacuna in our country. And then for several months, the talk went on between different funding agencies and nothing really happened. And one follow-up, the credit entirely goes to Professor S. Ramasamy of the Department of Science and Technology, okay, who said, Thelma, come back and I will support this project as a feasibility study. Okay? And again, since then, there was no looking back. He had wanted us to show the feasibility in a place like Delhi, as well as in a slightly rural setting. So we had decided, okay, we'll do one in Bihar and one in Delhi. But when we finally made the project, he just said, I think we should not kind of go and take it up in Bihar yet. Maybe we should show the feasibility in Delhi. And then we put together, with my clinical collaborator, Professor Seema Kapoor at Maulana Azad, and 20 other hospitals across Delhi, we put together this project and we screened 200,000 babies in a matter of about 20 months. Okay, and we tested them for 5 treatable conditions, and we generated epidemiological data for remaining about 31 conditions. Okay, because ethically they would not allow us to do anything beyond for those conditions where there was no treatment available. So we were very fortunate that we could do testing and treating for 5 conditions and generate the epidemiological data. So we have generated the epidemiological data for all of the then testable IEMs, inborn errors of metabolism, for the first time. And based on that, the Delhi government has already made this program called Mission NEEV, okay, NEEV, Neonatal Early Vision program, which is on at Maulana Azad Medical College now, where 2 conditions, congenital adrenal hyperplasia and congenital hypothyroidism, together with G6PD, is being routinely screened for newborns coming from all the government hospitals, newborns coming from the government hospitals. But my passion is to kind of really get this, because I view this as a data to policy research, and my sincere efforts are to make this into a policy to make it mandatory screening in the country. I hope that dream of mine will come true. But for that, I know that we need to have a little bit more epidemiological data, because India is vast, very diverse. So we really need to have, at least for a few representative states, we must have the data before we can say which should be the conditions which are made mandatory. Okay, that's very, very important. So this is why, and that's a classical example of A, translational medicine or a technology for the common people. B, it's a very, very early example of P4 medicine. Okay, it is predictive, preventive, and participatory, of course, and personalized. Okay, so wherever there's and these days with so much focus on rare disorders, okay, more and more emphasis is on developing newer therapeutic molecules, cost-effective or affordable therapeutics, and so on. So while a large majority of the public is still unaware of these conditions, okay, we have a chance. If parents are unaware and they get a first baby who's already affected, which is screened in the newborn, we can't do anything for that baby, there's no treatment. But because we do the genetic analysis in the parents and identify the mutation, because we now have the child who's affected and the parents, for the next pregnancy, when they plan the family, we can actually do predictive testing for them. And so I think, it's truly a P4 medicine example, and something which is so doable and so inexpensive. It's not that it's not, it is inexpensive if you really do the test, because all that you require is a drop of blood from the heel of a baby, newborn, 24 to 48 hours after, that is after the child had its first feed, and the own metabolite profiling can be done. You just need to do that, and it's very, very inexpensive to cover all of these tests. And of course, if there's early history of another baby born early in the family, then you know that genetic testing is possible, prenatal diagnosis, and it can be very easily prevented. A defective baby or a baby with a genetic disease condition can actually be prevented from being